Hello again, everyone. Edwin Leonard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about the Sun transiting the ninth house in a natal chart. Now, the Sun will transit a house on average for 30 days approximately because the average house size is 30 degrees and the sun moves at approximately 1 degree per day. However, if you have a house, say that is a little bit smaller than the average size, say 25 degrees, then the sun will traverse that house for approximately 25 days. Now, let's say that your house size is a little bit bigger, say 35 degrees. Then the sun will transit that house for about 35 days. Well, anyway, people, first thing I want to get at is really the thing is when you have the sun transiting your ninth house in your natal chart, there may be higher education, philosophy, and religion may figure a lot more prominently than it ordinarily does. If you're not part of a current congregation or a religious group, it might be that time where you at least start contemplating perhaps joining one. Or if you haven't been involved and say you're part of a congregation, you have been part really or has been as active in the group, you may feel more of a need to become more of an active participant. And the sun, remember, is the area where we like to shine. So when the sun transits the ninth house, we may want to shine in these areas that are associated with the ninth house, such as religion. It might be taking more of a leadership role in a religious position in your congregation if you're part of one. It could be something where, as far as higher education goes, say if you're already involved in college, for example, you might feel this need where you might really feel to kind of step up the game, so to speak, and really strive for really higher grades, maybe, or might be looking for a little bit more recognition and accolades or maybe for some kind of scholastic achievement. This could be also a period where you might be open to more philosophies and opinions and ideas from others than you ordinarily are, even if you consider yourself somewhat of an intransigent person or someone that really is very set in your ways and your beliefs. You might be a little bit more pliable and adaptable to others' ways of thinking during this period than you ordinarily are. This could be a time where if you're not, say you're not in college or you're not doing any post high school education, you might feel the need perhaps to do so, whether it would be through a college or university, or whether it might be some at home learning, I should say. And this could be a period where you feel like a need to step outside the box, so to speak, and expand your horizons. And if you've been stagnant somewhat and you feel like you're in some kind of rut, you might feel a strong need to decide to, okay, say I'm going to do something different, I'm going to be more about exploration. It might be a period where you might decide to do something connected with long distance journeys. You might have more of a desire to travel during this period than you ordinarily would, even if you are somebody that really doesn't travel much. It could be a time where it might be an increased proclivity for long distance traveling, and there might be more interaction with people that are from other countries and cultures than ordinarily. You might really want to learn about others that are from other countries, that are part of other cultures. And there also might be a need to you might feel a little bit more adventurous in this period than ordinarily. You might be a little bit more audacious and willing to take that risk or that chance that generally you may not ordinarily take. Even if you're a fundamentally cautious person, there might be more of a need to take that time to take that risk. Now, the thing is, too, that remember that the ninth house is also associated with publishing. And it might be a time where you might, even if you're not necessarily publish something at this time, there might be something where you're at least contemplating maybe writing a book or putting something like an online blog up. And it really, as far as writing a book, of course, that could be publishing a book could be a novel idea, right? No, but anyway, I'm only kidding, of course, but seriously, you might feel this need for exploration, going on maybe some expedition, seeking out that guide, maybe one of those people that kind of lead the expeditions, and you're right, it might be you might be really feel like searching a new territory that you haven't really explored before. And anyway, it's important to look at the position of the sun during the time that it is transiting your ninth house. Now, or at least you have to look at, okay, the sign that the sun is in for the majority or the whole period that it is transiting your ninth house. Let's say, for example, that the sun is in Scorpio for either the majority or the whole period that it's transiting your ninth house. This could indicate perhaps maybe some emotional intensity in areas connected with the ninth house, perhaps publishing, perhaps something connected with religion and higher education. And you may have a need to maybe learn something deep, like a Scorpio-like subject, such as astrology, the occult, supernatural, something with forensics, investigation, perhaps. Those are some things, or maybe psychology or psychiatry, something like that during that period. Now, let's say, for another example, that the sun is in Aquarius for either the majority or the whole period that it's transiting the ninth house. This could be a time where maybe you decide you want to learn something connected with electronics, computers, maybe learning more about new technology and innovations, maybe something with being an electrician, robotics. Those are some things to look at, unusual subjects. And really, another thing to look at too is to look at the aspects that are made during the time that the sun is transiting your ninth house. Now, let's say, for example, the transiting sun is making an adverse aspect to your natal Pluto. Okay, let's say it's either making a square, an inconjunct, or an opposition to your natal Pluto at some point during the transit. Now, this could indicate that you might maybe have some little obsessive, maybe behavior to some degree in matters with the ninth house. There might be more of a need to control, and even in some extreme cases, manipulate, such as perhaps things with in-laws. There might be if you have in-laws, maybe obsessive behavior connected with maybe learning something you haven't learned, something new to you that you want to learn, some broad subject, or just something maybe something else connected with the ninth house. So there's also another example would be, let's say that the transit sun makes a sextile or trine aspect to your natal Jupiter during this period at some point that when the sun is transiting your ninth house. Well, this could indicate, this could really give some exuberant, expansive energy to that ninth, to what you might be doing in connection with the ninth house when the sun is transiting it, such as perhaps higher education, learning broad subjects, something connected with the in-laws. It could be more of a fortuitous period for those ninth house matters, such as perhaps publishing, the higher education, perhaps with religion. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the sun transiting the ninth house in a natal chart. Now stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about the sun transiting the 10th house in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.